Hey guys, it's me, Toby, with the first Nickelodeon Talk podcast. And today, we're going to be looking at the not the pilot episode, but the first official episode of the original 90s Rugrats, Tommy's First Birthday. That is the name of the episode, and without further ado, let's do a recap. They start the episode with waking up Tommy Pickles from his night's sleep and telling him happy birthday as they get him up to change his diaper. Then, as Stu is explaining what Tommy's present will be for his first birthday that he woke up to, Tommy is pulling on Dee Dee's earring. And Hectic is breaking loose, and the dad doesn't even notice, aka Stu Pickles. Then Dee Dee checks a Dr. Lipschitz book and to see if ear pulling is normal. And now they're trying to feed Tommy with an airplane spoon. Tommy Pickles gets distracted by the TV playing a dog running to a can of dog food to advertise a dog food commercial that says dog food is good. Tommy, I'm gonna assume, if I remember correctly from this episode, is gonna think that he should try dog food. Tommy crawls out of his seat and tries to taste the dog food bowl that was just fed to Spike, his dog. And luckily, Grandpa stops him in time from eating the dog food. Just then, Betty and the other parents show up with Phil and Lil to Tommy's house to celebrate Tommy's birthday. And Chucky is also there. The grandpa, aka Stu Pickles' dad, Drew, is complaining about one of the activities that are going to happen at Tommy's birthday, a puppet show. The puppet show is supposed to be the entertainment, and Stu's grandpa Stu's grandpa is complaining that the kids won't even remember the puppet show when they get older because they're too young. But Tommy's parents are persistent, saying that it's a good idea to entertain them for the now and not for the then. And Tommy, I'd like to point out in this episode, is wearing a red shirt and overalls instead of his signature diaper and blue shirt. So that's different from the rest of the series compared to the pilot episode. Tommy is also trying to persuade his baby friends Phil, Lil, and Chucky that eating dog food will turn them into dogs. Just then, they discover that Angelica is going to show up at the party. Stu uses an invention that looks a lot like the Ring doorbell as we know today, even though such things didn't exist back then, to answer the door for Angelica as she shows up. Angelica immediately starts bullying Tommy, saying that she gets all the toys that he gets for his birthday. Angelica tricks them into thinking eating dog food really does turn them into dogs, so now they're on a mission. Angelica, along with the babies, are now planning an attack to try to get the dog food. A plan, so to speak. Tommy sneaks out of the baby gate area and is headed towards the dog food. Then Dee Dee's parents, aka Tommy's grandma and grandpa, show up on Dee Dee's side of the family to Tommy's birthday. Tommy is sad because he fails to get the dog food because his grandma picks him up and walks him away from the dog food. Tommy opens his present from his dad, and it's one of his inventions, the Hoverama, a flying machine that is remote controlled. In my opinion, that is a very bad idea to have like a flying machine, like a drone, that babies sit on top of. It's just a disaster waiting to happen. I don't know why Stu Pickles thought that was a good idea in the first place. The adults are playing with a walkie-talkie in the meantime as Angelica wanders off to play with the fire truck. Meanwhile, Tommy is sneaking off to get the dog food to eat, and he fails once again because his mom grabs him. Just then, Dee Dee thinks the puppeteers show up for the puppet show. Turns out they booked the puppet stage, they got the puppets, but they did not get the puppeteers. So, Stu has an idea for him and his brother to do the puppet show themselves. They hide behind the curtain and they start the puppet show. Then the brothers start to slowly argue about the puppet show. Then they start a full-blown argument as Tommy sneaks off to eat Spike's food. Tommy slowly crawls to Spike's food and discovers that it's empty. Meanwhile, Spike walks out of the kitchen and thinks that it's Tommy. Then Tommy walks out and they realize it's not Tommy, and they discover all the dog food is gone. Then they look on the top shelf in the kitchen and discover another can of dog food. As the puppet show is going on with the two brothers fighting using the puppets, and the grown-ups are just staring at it. Then their grandpa, aka their dad, comes along and hits their hands with a third puppet. Angelica, Tommy, Phil, Lil, and Chucky work together. Then Phil fights with Chucky, causing the flying, machine that Stu made, which we now know as a drone these days, grabs onto Tommy and Angelica and shakes them in midair all over the place. Above, near the fridge, around the kitchen, and then Angelica falls into a batter of flour. As in a bag of flour. Meanwhile, Tommy is screaming for his dear life as he hits the fridge and grabs the sink to try to stop himself, but he just breaks the sink instead. Then Tommy knocks down a whole bunch of stuff on the kitchen counter, knocks over a lot of plates, makes a mess with batter, and is just stuck on the ceiling fan as the kitchen is totally demolished. Then Tommy comes flying out into the front room where all the adults are, but they don't notice yet. And Spike catches Tommy as he falls from the thing, and the hover-o-matic crashes into the cake. Dee Dee panics because the cake is ruined and she thinks the party is a total disaster. Meanwhile, Tommy is playing with Spike, and Stu pulls the hover-o-matic out of the cake. The grandpa of Tommy tastes the cake, and they argue about what flavor the cake should have been. The grandpa on Stu's side of the family gives Spike some dog food, and the babies eat it, and then make a disgusted face and spit it all out. And then they pretend to be dogs. Then the parents and the grandparents are all in awe, watching the babies pretend to be dogs, and then they take a happy picture. And yeah, they do a shot of a photo album of screenshots throughout the whole episode. And then the photo album closes, and it fades to black, and that was the episode. If you enjoyed this episode 1, season 1 podcast recap of Rugrats from the Nickelodeon Talk podcast, please like, share, and subscribe, and wait for more episodes to come soon. I would also like to apologize for the dog barking noises in some of the audio clips. There's not much I can really do about that. I apologize.